Hey guys, Bruno here with Warehouse for another Formula One track preview. This one hits a little close to home because we are at COTA, Circuit of the Americas, down in Austin, Texas. Really cool to see F1 back in the States. They took a break in 2020, so cool to see Formula One racing at COTA. It's quite an interesting track. I've driven here in real life before, and it's pretty interesting with the elevation changes, which we'll go into in further detail with the video. But it's quite a tricky track, very technical as well, especially in the stadium section where everything tightens up quite a bit. So we're going to go ahead and ride on board. We finished up at the Turkish Grand Prix. It was a pretty interesting race, especially that battle with Hamilton and Perez, which came kind of down to the wire. This gave Verstappen a little bit of an advantage in the championship, in the constructor standings. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how things play out now. So we're going to go ahead and ride on board with a lap of the Circuit of the Americas as we come out of the final corner across the front straight. We are heading up to turn one, and turn one is quite a late braking zone because of the hill that you guys are going to see right now. So the track kind of opens up as you get to the top of the hill, and it's just an insane amount of elevation change going up to the top of turn one. The very top of the corner actually kind of plateaus, so I do an earlier bit of a turn in just to avoid that plateau at the very top to unsettle the car. So you want to turn in a little bit early just to avoid that. Get up on that inside curve, just like barely kiss it, and then back on power, easy as you come down the hill. Turn two is going to be completely flat out. I like to dip a wheel just inside that curb just to kind of stick the car pretty much in between the curb and the paint, and it almost grips it up a little bit. And then as you come through the S's here, very late apex, that's the key through here. It's very crucial to kind of late apex the first two, and then the second part of the S's kind of flows a little bit better by doing so. So you'll notice late apex for the first one, late apex for the right, the left is about middle of the track, and then you're going to kind of do a double apex going into this longer right hand part of the S's. So you hit the apex pretty early on, let the car drift out wide. As you come over this little banner bridge, you want to then again apex, so the second part of the apex, and stick as far over to the right as you can to prepare for this fall over to the left. So the track actually drops it down a bit here, which is going to be interesting to see depending on track conditions, but it can kind of grip up the car as the track drops down a little bit. And then as I say drops down, it picks right back up for turn 8. Very crucial corner here. You want to get the car up on the curb just a little bit to help it rotate, and then also aim for a very late apex out of turn 9 so you can get a good run coming up to the hairpin before the back straight. So after this, you can see there's quite a bit of runoff that you can use. Turn 10 is not really a turn, let's say, but it's going to be flat out right here, and then into a heavy brake zone before the back straight. You really want to work on getting a good exit out of here. So very late apex, but not too late. You don't want to point the car too much. You want to get a nice late apex so you hit the curb right in the middle of it, and you can get a good power down coming out of this hairpin as we follow onto one of the biggest straights of the track here. Very big passing opportunity coming into turn 11, turn 12 I believe it is, down the back straight. You brake at about the 125 meter board, so pretty late on the brakes. Get it stopped as quick as you can, and the track drops down a little bit as you get into the apex, so you got to be careful with the car kind of bottoming out. And then it opens up again, and we follow into the stadium section now, which is an extremely technical part of the track. Very crucial to nail the sector down. As you can see here, turn 13, it's kind of continuous. So it's 13 and then it's 14, but you're holding a constant radius with the wheel. So you got to be very patient with the power down so that you don't spin up the rears. And then into probably the tightest corner of the track. This one's very crucial. You hit the curb early on, miss the second one, and then you go super wide for the final part, the final left-hander right here, so you can get a good run out of it as well before you head on into the carousel. The carousel is quite technical, quite tricky. Some people get caught off guard with it, but you actually start lifting pretty early on in the corner. So right about now, off power, make sure you can get up on the curb and then flat out, rolling onto flat out from the middle of that second apex all the way throughout the carousel. And by doing so, you can stick pretty tight as the carousel finishes off. So very important to do the lift off and kind of get the rotation at the right point. Formula 1 cars, maybe in qualifying, you can almost get flat out, but for the normal race pace, you do have to live a little bit. So, and then into the final corner, track kind of comes up off camber. Gotta be careful that you don't get too much wheel spin, and that you can get a good run down the front straight. So that was a quick little super in-depth hot lap. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a fast lap without me talking now. So there's a fairly quick lap of Circuit of the Americas. Super technical, as you can see, a lot of elevation change, so it's very important to really master it when you're driving on the track. So luckily I've been able to drive here in real life and get some experience and really experience the elevation change. I can tell you it really plays a dividends and factor into a lap around the Circuit of the Americas. So going on into predictions, this should be an interesting race. I'm very curious to see how things pan out. I'm not too sure if there's rain planned for this weekend, which will be the first time in a while. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. Bottas, surprisingly, has picked up his pace after being announced that he's leaving Mercedes. So I don't know if this is like a final hurrah, but he's been really doing well. He won the Turkish Grand Prix, the last Grand Prix. So that kind of plays into my predictions a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be Hamilton P1, Verstappen P2, Bottas P3. Might shuffle a little bit that order, but I think it's going to be those top three up front. Mercedes is running good, Red Bull is running good, and I think this is going to be a good track for Red Bull as well. But Mercedes has been quick here in the past as well, and with Bottas, pushing himself, I guess, in this final last push, we'll see if that kind of plays into factor. We can see him on the podium as well, and then obviously the title fight between Hamilton and Verstappen, they're going to be pushing to the limit because every point counts at this stage. So those are my predictions. We'll see if that happens. Excited to see cars at COTA. It's a spectacle to watch them through the S's. The amount of speed they carry is just insane. On a qualifying lap, it's just it doesn't make sense at points. The amount of speed you can carry in a Formula 1 car through there. So it's going to be exciting to see. I'm really curious to see how the weekend plays out. And hopefully this track guide was helpful for you. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to get back to you. And I hope you enjoyed the track guide. So enjoy the race, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.